Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the East Riding of Yorkshire series. Together with the unparished city of Hull, it forms the county of the same name. There's 172 parishes here. Which one are we in today? Okay, today in the East Riding of Yorkshire, I've got a village for you that goes by two names. Now, officially, the parish's name is just Middeltun, but the village's name is Middleton on the Wolds. And on the Wolds, it certainly is, because look behind me and you'll see the Wolds. Fantastic rolling hills here in the East Riding of Yorkshire. Let's go and have a look at the parish of Middeltun. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Middleton on the Wolds, often referred to as just Middeltun, is a village and civil parish on the Yorkshire Wolds. It's situated on the A614 road, midway between Driffield and Market Wheaton. Our walk starts on Station Road and the clue is in the name. Middeltun was served by a railway station on the Selby to Driffield line. This here is where the old railway line crossed Station Road. More on that later. Our walk will pass this point again later and end just to the north at the primary school. Let's take in the sights and sounds of some of its residential areas first. Middleton on the Wolds is an attractive village with a lively community life. It's got a lot going for it. Latest stats show it doesn't suffer from many crime problems and there's no graffiti or litter. If it has one downside, it would be the A614, which cuts the village in half. It's a tad on the noisy and busy side. When we reach it, you'll see what I mean. Nonetheless, the village is pleasantly situated in a valley about 9 miles northwest of Beverley and 8 southwest of Driffield, and in places it can be a little hilly. Well, in case you were in any doubt that you were on the Yorkshire Wolds, you definitely are, and you can tell by the houses behind me because they slope downwards. Orchard Drive is relatively flat though, and it's a street typical of many in this, the more modern, northerly half of the village. In the south of the village, it's very much a different story. This leads to a small park. This is not the only green space in Middeltun. On the outskirts of the village is the recreation ground, which has recently had some new play equipment installed. That's an ideal time to mention sport. Middeltun has a cricket team named Middeltun and North Dalton Cricket Club, and it's a shared team between itself and the neighbouring village. Middeltun on the Wolds is fortunate to have several footpaths in and around it. This one brings us to Front Street, or if you will, the A614, the main street through Middeltun. From what I can gather though, hikers should beware. According to one local, the public footpaths tend to be dead ends, so, and I quote, "you end up in fields which start nowhere and end nowhere." Despite that, it remains a good location for a bike ride. Once you get out of the village, you're on the glorious East Yorkshire Wolds, a range of gentle rolling hills with great scenery. So that footpath that I've just come out of, there's another one directly opposite it on this side of the road, and I'm going onto the street that it leads to, but I'm going to go round because you never know what you're going to find. Middeltun seems to have originated in the Germanic invasions of eastern England from the 5th century. In the Domesday Book, it's referred to as Middeltun. The name literally means middle farmstead. It's one of the most common place names in England. Trust me, if I ever get through the whole country, you'll have lost count of them all. The East Yorkshire flavour has always been associated with farming. In the centuries that followed the Norman conquest, farming was the mainstay of the village economy. Middeltun used to have a set of medieval stocks, which were removed in the late 1800s. They were used for the last time as an instrument of punishment in the June of 1854. Directly to the south of the village behind South Street is Middleton Park. Middleton Hall, which used to stand in the parkland, was demolished in 1963. It was used from 1942 as the base for the East Riding Auxiliary Unit Patrol, a secret resistance network of highly trained volunteers designed to be the last line of defence in World War II. So this part of Middeltun is clearly one of the older parts. Look at this house here, the White House. Look at them on the wall, the X's. We've seen them before, haven't we, in North Lincolnshire. Building ties. Nikki would be so proud of me spotting those. Middeltun is certainly no slouch when it comes to keeping the community informed about local events. There's a magazine published on a monthly basis called the Middeltun Messenger. Linked below is a digital copy of the May 2021 edition, which I found. In it, there's mentions of many local events, including the Middeltun Olympics and a gala day. There are village competitions too, for example the best kept garden, best flower display and my personal favourite, best photo of the village. I imagine there are many likely candidates to win that one. My research told me that Middeltun used to have 2 pubs. Only one now exists. You're looking at the other one. This was the 150-year-old Rose and Crown until it closed in 2011. The reading rooms are next, situated in the centre of the village at 7 Front Street. The rooms were gifted to the parish in 1935 for use of a variety of recreational purposes. I found 2 parish notice boards whilst I was here. This one is on the wall of the reading rooms. It looks like it's not used nearly as much as the one just over the road though. So I imagine this is what you would call the centre of the village right here. So we've got the post office, which is in shot right now, and then if I pan the camera around a little bit, you'll see the church in a moment. There's also a little shop there. I think it's a hair salon, I don't know yet because I haven't been to it. And then there's a pub over there and a very interesting building just here. I'm not sure what this is, but we'll see in a second or so. Let's go and explore the centre. Doing my bit to promote local business, the first thing of note on this main street is just that. This is the HQ of Phil Anderson. If you need your garden machinery repaired, he's your man. Next, over the road is the former Methodist chapel. Both the Wesleyans and Primitive Methodists had chapels here, the former having been established here since the early 1800s. Buses next, and Middeltun on the Wolds is served by 3 according to the Bus Times website. These are the number 45, 142 and 145, and all these numbers appear on a regular basis in neighbouring villages. Middeltun still has its post office, and this doubles as the village shop. When Middleton Hall was used by the Auxiliary Unit Patrol, this was their correspondence address. There's a salon as well right next door named Wolds Waves. Apart from a takeaway which we're yet to see, that's really it though as far as retail services go. Although there is this. This, according to my sources, is or perhaps was Java Teak, a furniture dealer's. Is this still a business, Middeltun locals? It didn't look very open. Okay, so our next major stop is the church you can see behind me. Now, the church has a separate cemetery, and I know that because I passed it on the way into the village. The route won't catch that because it's a little bit too far away from the village to catch it on the main route. But that's what picture bits are for, and hopefully if I can find a picture of it, noisy lorry, it'll be in there. The one and only pub in Middeltun these days is the Robin Hood Inn, which, being located on a major A road, certainly does well for itself thanks to passing trade. This area of the village is a series of narrow lanes, so unsurprisingly there's a one-way system in place. No matter though, we're going this way anyway. It brings us to a low wall which surrounds the churchyard here. On the road towards Lund, there's a similar wall enclosing the boundary of Middeltun Park. The main cemetery is situated on Beverley Road, just a short way outside the village. It's in 2 sections, one belonging to the parochial church council and one that's managed by the parish council. St Andrew's Church is a Grade 2 listed building. It stands on a little hill above Church Hill Road with a steeply rising churchyard. The chancel is unusually long, measuring 40 feet by 21. Although the building is said to be mostly from 1873 and 1874 by J.J. Teal of Doncaster, the aisle arcades and the chancel with its chalk walls are from the 13th century. Of course, by now it won't have escaped your attention that Middeltun on the Wolds is on a main road, on the A614, major road between Goole and Bridlington. And of course the M62. At the junction of Station Road and the A614 is a pond. This has always been a vitally important area of Middeltun. You see, the pond and the wells around here were vital for a supply of water. These days, of course, water is on tap, literally, but that doesn't stop the local duck population enjoying the pond as much as they do, just as long as we don't feed them. This screen has the village's old red telephone box, and there's no prizes for guessing what this one's used for. Interestingly though, I found something in this that I thought was a nice touch. It's been fitted out with some bookshelves, giving it a much more organised feel than some exchanges we've seen before. It was the handiwork of a local man, the late Timothy Dodd. Back in the northern half of the village, we're venturing back up Station Road towards a pretty sharp, it has to be said, bend in the road. Whilst Middeltun might lack a thing or two when it comes to retail, you're alright if you're hungry. Wolds Pizza will see to that, and their premises is just around that corner. Here we have the Village Hall, an excellent community hub. This hosts a regular coffee morning, an annual Easter fair, and has held fundraisers including for the Ukrainians earlier this year. Now we're heading towards the end of the route where we'll catch the old railway line and a small industrial estate. Middeltun has some surprising industries. As well as a poultry factory, Soanes, which lies to the east, the village plays host to a company that manufactures survival aids for sea rescue. The disused railway line has been a popular walk for many years. The path is owned by the local authority and maintained by both the Parish Council and East Riding. Now I imagine that Middeltun Station was here, because here we've got ABG International on a small industrial estate down this track at the side of the old railway line, and I imagine that's where the station would have been located. It's certainly what makes the most sense, you have to say. Following a recent loss of some steps linking the line to Water Road, the Parish Council funded replacements in order to maintain access. Right next to this is a delightful little wildlife area, which is thanks to the local school. There's some water involved though, so I wouldn't go venturing into it. The school in question is Middeltun on the Wolds C of E Primary. It replaced the former national school, originally dating from 1872, and serves Middeltun and other local villages like North Dalton and Lund. Outside it there's a few memorial benches. I picked this one to focus in on, which has been here since 1995, commemorating 50 years since VE Day. To finish, here is the school, provided at a cost of £30,000 in 1968. It was opened on the 1st of November of the same year by the Right Honourable Richard Wood MP. So opposite the school here we've got another bench in memory of Jack Bentley, 1922 to 2013. I just thought I'd sit here for a moment to introduce today's picture bit. We're not quite done with this video because there's something very important which I haven't covered yet, but for now, here comes the picture bit. Okay, to finish this episode off, I need to drive out to the west of Middeltun to catch something which a lot of people expected to see in the Eton episode a few weeks ago. And that thing is to do with Kipling Cotes. You remember the hamlet of Kipling Cotes that had the old station? Well, people expected to see me talk about the Kipling Cotes Derby, which is a horse race. However, I didn't talk about it purposely. I knew about it, but I was saving it for this episode because this is where the winning post is located. Let's go and find it. So as well as Eton, all those other episodes around here that you've seen over the past few weeks, I refrained from mentioning the Kipling Cotes Derby because I knew it was in Middeltun. I don't know whether you guys knew which parish this was in, but this is only just in Middeltun actually, because out to the west that way, the parish boundary is literally just there. So it's only just in Middeltun, and here it is. Here is the Kipling Cotes racecourse winning post. And interestingly, this road is actually called, if you look on Google Maps, Kipling Cotes racecourse, and you can follow it all the way down to Kipling Cotes. Let's have a look at the post. At the western extremity of the parish is the winning post of the Kipling Cotes racecourse, which is said to be the oldest course in England. It's 4 miles long and hosts the oldest race in England. That would be the Kipling Cotes Derby. The races are held on the third Thursday in March. The first race was held in 1519 and it has some totally balmy rules. For one, the second placed rider often receives the most prize money. The winner receives the sum of £50, but the rider finishing second receives the remainder of the total of the entry fees. The rules also state that if the race is not run one year, it must never be run again. Even during the COVID pandemic, 2 horses were walked along the course to preserve the race. Near the winning post is Kipling House, and in the adjoining field, human remains have been found, and in the vicinity are traces of foundations which seem to indicate the presence of a lost village. Well, I'll tell you what guys, this is a fantastic place to end this video. The winning post is located on a hill, and from this hill, the view I've got is quite amazing. Of the East Yorkshire Wolds in the distance. Rolling hills. You know, it's funny, I often say Derbyshire's beautiful, parts of Nottinghamshire is beautiful, but I never say the same, do I, about the East Riding? I never give it enough credit. I don't know why not, because the Yorkshire Wolds are just a fabulous part of the country. If you're ever up here and you have the opportunity to come and see the Kipling Cotes winning post, trust me, just stand here for a while and have a look at this view and you'll see what I mean. The Yorkshire Wolds are a stunning part of not just Yorkshire, but the entire country. It's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Time for me to move on to my next one, which again is on the Wolds, and it's not too far away from here actually. All I need to do is drive along Kipling Cotes racecourse, and eventually I should come to it, provided that I've actually read the map right, which I usually do, so hopefully I'll reach it without a problem. This has been the parish of Middeltun, or if you will, Middeltun on the Wolds, and I have been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I am out.